For the last 2 weeks, I decided to go with my friends to the beach, to the coast of Argentina. And the beach that we decided to go to was Valleria del Mar. And it's a really nice beach. It's nice and hot. It's not too busy with full of people. It's not too quiet, so it's empty. And the sandy beaches are just nice. It's just the perfect balance, in my opinion. We got to visit 3 other beaches, namely Pinamar, Villa Gesell, and the capital beach of the area, Mar del Plata. But all these other beaches were bigger cities and they were more busy and not as nice, especially Mar del Plata. Once you visited all these other beaches, you got a greater appreciation for Valleria del Mar. It really is a nice beach and I could recommend it to anyone. We went to this marina nearby, well, when I say nearby, it's an hour bus away, called Mundo Marino. And it was alright, just a little bit disappointing because, I don't know, it just felt really crammed and small for all the animals. Which is a bit of a shame really, because I wanted something bigger for them, especially the killer whale, okra. Now, when I was in Argentina, I bought lots of sun cream because I was afraid of getting burnt. I bought many different factors. In fact, my strongest factor was factor 50, because I really didn't want to get burnt. And all my Argentinian friends, they all laughed at me because that's such a high factor, you'll never get a tan with that. Well, I got the last laugh at the end because one of my friends, she went out into the sun from daytime to nighttime in the sun. And she was going to go with sun factor 4, but I insisted that she put on at least 20, and so she did, but she didn't keep putting it on. And she got completely burnt from head to toe. Her body was completely red like a tomato. Her face has swollen to the point where she could hardly see. Her bits got so badly burned that they got black and bruised. That's how badly burned she got. So I got my last laugh. That's what you get. You see, my factor 50 isn't so silly now, is it? Although there was one point where I didn't put enough sun cream on my foot and it got burnt and it swelled up for a couple of days. Yeah, that wasn't fun. There was one system on the beach which I thought was really good. Whenever a child gets lost, everyone around that child claps for as long as the child is in the area. And if the child was to move, the rest of the people would start clapping. And the reason for this is so that if a parent knows that their child is missing, they can hear this and they will be attracted to the sound and they will hopefully be reunited with their children. I thought this was a really good system and I'd like to see this happen in other places. I did get the opportunity to complete one of my tasks of eating shark. There was a guy who was looking at his latest catch of fishes, and one of them I noticed was shark. I was so excited I was willing to throw money at the guy saying, I want to eat this. But all my friends convinced me not to buy it because they said that there was a restaurant that would serve me shark. There was never a restaurant that served me shark. I was so disappointed. As a last-minute decision, I decided to visit Buenos Aires for a few days, for 2 reasons. One, I wanted to go and see what the big fuss was about this great city where everyone seems to love it. And 2, I wanted to meet up with my friend who I had met on my travels in the south, just so she can show me around and such. So I arrived there, I went to a hostel, I told my friend that I'll look around and I'll wait for her. And so I did a bit of exploring. And I got an impression of Buenos Aires, and, well, it's not that impressive. I wasn't really that impressed by Buenos Aires. And I'll tell you why. I walked around various places as far as I could within walking distance of my hostel. And yes, there are some nice looking streets, and yes, there are some architecture which is blatant rip-off of the stuff from Europe, to be honest. Although there is a historical reason why that is. Yes, this city has got a crap load of monuments and statues, including this one where is a huge metal flower, which is closed at night, but when it opens up during the day, it stays open for the whole day. It's a really interesting bit of architecture. And yes, I got to see the widest avenue in all the world, where each side had 8 lanes. Although to be told, it's not that impressive. I think what they should have done was make it 20 lanes and to get rid of those islands in between so that people had to run across each side before the lights turned green and then the horde of cars came riding towards them. You know, turn it into a death trap. I think that would be much better. And I did manage to see the Falkland War protesters. They were putting up all these flags outside some important buildings saying things like 27 years, never forget. And to be honest, I don't think people really care about what happened in the Falkland Wars anymore. I thought it was quite interesting. I was tempted to go up to one of them and just scream, "Yeah, that's right, get rid of those filthy English scum, we don't want them in our country," and see how they would react. But for all these nice streets and all these nice monuments, all you needed to do was take a left turn somewhere and walk down the streets, and you realize that it's actually a dark, dirty and dangerous place. You don't necessarily feel safe. I did manage to go to a zoo though, which is quite nice, and it was fascinating seeing all these different animals that I've never seen before. And the insect expeditions was inspiring. So many different kinds of insects. But at the same time, it's depressing and sad because of the simple fact of animals in a small cage. It's cruel in a way. So if they decide to ever close that zoo down, I wouldn't feel bad about it. The city of Buenos Aires is always hot. It's always sweaty, uncomfortable sweaty. Even when it was raining, I felt like I needed to change my shirt all the time. I don't understand how it can get so hot and sweaty all the time. For the city that never sleeps, I found it to be quite quiet. When I was walking around the streets finding things to do, I just felt that there wasn't enough people around, especially on Sunday. I've never known a city of such a scale like that to be quiet. Now everyone gave me the excuse that everyone who lives in Buenos Aires is on holiday, visiting different places. And I noticed there were plenty of people in the south from Buenos Aires visiting the south. And I can understand why now. People want to leave that city. And the city at night is dirty. People throw out their garbage on the street corners, and the city hums with the stench of rubbish. And you sometimes see cockroaches and rats running and scuttering around the filth. And I can't understand who actually picks up this rubbish. I only saw one poor family in a truck drive up to this pile of garbage, and they were rummaging through the litter, trying to figure out if there was anything useful and valuable for them to sell. But every morning, the rubbish was all gone. It was quite amazing in that sense. In the end, I never met up with my friend I was planning to visit because she was on holiday, and the one evening she came back, the next day she had to go back to her hometown of Colombia. So we arranged a time, so she arranged to call me back, and so we can arrange something in the evening. We both kind of fell asleep and woke up the next day and nothing got arranged. So that was kind of a missed opportunity. Although I later found out a few days afterwards that I had another friend in Buenos Aires which I'd met in my travels. She wanted to actually meet up with me and say hello, but due to a misunderstanding on my end, that never actually happened. Lo siento. But I appreciate that I probably did Buenos Aires wrong. I didn't visit it correctly. I only managed to see a small area of Buenos Aires, like the touristy parts, and it is a huge city. And I never got to visit the nightlife because, well, to be honest, I didn't really want to visit the place on my own in a place where I can't speak the language. So, the next time I go back to Buenos Aires, I will arrange a get-together with some friends, and I hope that they can show me around some good places. I hope that there is an area of Buenos Aires that I would love. Like in London, I love Camden the most out of all of the London areas. Maybe there is a Camden in Buenos Aires that I don't know of. This video was brought to you by the fine people at Simiplast. Visit their website and see what the fuss is about.